I'm Preston Foster, coming your way with another episode of Waterfront.
Captain John, how about a ride up the channel?
Okay, Ed.
I'll meet you on your tug.
We'll move up to the dock, Billy, and pick up Captain Conway.
Yes.
Hi, Ed.
Hello, John.
Good trip?
Just fine. How's the family?
Couldn't be better. Glad to have you aboard. Where do you want to go?
The Wilson Pier.
What's up?
You'll see.
You look pretty pleased with yourself.
I am.
Well, there's the pier. What happens now?
The Amadon's tied up there. Pull up alongside.
I don't mind running taxi for you, but I'd like to know what's going on.
Just be a little patient.
All right. Ask Billy to stand by to tie up.
Right.
Well?
What do you think of her?
Well, it's a fair old tub. What am I supposed to say?
Well, you might say good luck.
Why?
Because this magnificent vessel that you so crudely called a tub is mine.
I didn't realize it, did I? I'm sorry.
Sorry, why?
Well, after all the years you've been with the steamship company, I don't think it's right to demote you to this thing.
Oh, I
It's only
haven't been demoted, John.
Well, you don't call skippering this thing a promotion, do you?
Well, I'm not just exactly the skipper. I own her. Come on, I'll show you around some more. Well, I know she's a little old, gonna need some work, but I couldn't be too choosy.
How'd it come about?
Well, I've always had a yen to have my own company, but I knew that getting the shipping business, I'd have to find a bargain. Then I heard about the Amadon being for sale, and I found she was owned by a shipping company down in Mexico. They picked her up after the war when ships were scarce. Now that they're modernizing their fleet, they want to sell her.
Even as old as she is, it must cost quite a bit. How'd you swing it?
Oh, I'd saved up a few dollars. And then my wife's father, when he died, he left her $30,000. And then, of course, the bank put up some money. Oh, she's mortgaged to the hilt. But the registry papers say, owner, Conway Shipping Company. Something I've dreamed about for a long time.
I gotta hand it to you, Ed. Must have taken a lot of nerve to tie everything up that way. I wish you all the best.
Sure, John, thanks.
It's none of my business, but I hope you got a good deal.
The price was steep for me, of course, but it was a fair deal. Because after I closed the deal, I heard this George Mallory had offered a whole lot more for her. But it was too late then.
Well, that's that guy up in San Francisco. He doesn't do any real shipping. All he does is buy and sell ships for a quick turnover.
Yeah, that's right. But he's a good trader. But then I figure if he offered more than I paid for her, I didn't make a bad deal.
I guess you're right, Ed. When are you going to get in action?
Oh, I got a couple of weeks' work to do on her, and then I'll make a couple of trial runs.
Well, good luck, Ed.
Thanks, John.
I guess we're all through for the day, huh, Captain John?
You are, Billy, but I'm going to stop by the Amadon.
You gonna do some more work on that boat? You've been going there every time we get a few hours off.
Well, Conway can sure use some help. You know, owning a ship like that's a lot different than being a captain for a big steamship company. I want to see him make a go of it. He'd help me if I needed it.
I reckon he would. She's in pretty bad shape, isn't she?
Yeah, needs quite a bit of work.
Well, you talked me into it.
I wasn't trying to, Billy.
That's how you talked me into it so easy.
John.
Glad to do it. You know, this makes the Cheryl engine look like an outboard.
Nice of Billy to give us a hand.
I didn't ask him.
I didn't think you did.
I'm George Mallory. You Captain Conway?
All right. Captain Herrick.
Hello.
All right.
Well, you seem to be getting her in pretty fair shape.
Yeah, I'm trying to.
Pretty old ship. You may be taking on too much.
Yeah, I'll make out.
You could make out right now if you wanted to.
Meaning?
Meaning I'd take this ship off your hands right now for what you've got invested in her, and even a few bucks profit.
I heard you wanted to buy her. You seemed awful anxious.
Oh, no. Not anxious, really. It's just that it's a better business proposition for me than it is for you. You see, I've got the equipment and the personnel to put a ship like this in shape. I've got an organization. I could afford the risk in case anything happened to it. I'm a ship owner. You're just a skipper. So you see, obviously, it's a better proposition for me than it is for you. Just that simple.
Except for one thing. All my life, I planned to have my own ship. And now that I own her, it just don't seem to make sense to want to get rid of her so quick for a few dollars profit.
Captain, I gather you're his friend. Can't you persuade him that my offer makes sense and he ought to take it?
I figure Ed can handle this without any advice from me.
Well, I figure he's given himself a big headache. And as his friend, you ought to do something about it.
If he gets a headache, we'll give him an aspirin.
You seem to think this is a joke. Well, keep in mind I'm willing to do business.
I'll keep it in mind.
So long. Captain.
Seemed mighty anxious.
Too anxious.
Maybe I made a better deal than I thought.
Let me know if your head starts to ache.
Hi, Ed. Hello, John.
Been pretty busy the last few weeks, huh?
What gave you that idea?
Well, when you left on your trial run, I expected you'd be back in a week or 10 days. When you're going over 3 weeks, I figured you picked up some business.
Business? I almost lost all the business I'd been offered.
How come?
Well, of all times to get a bad break on my final trial run. First, we had trouble with the control system. Then the engine went out. We had to creep down the coast at 3 knots. Now, you can swim faster than that.
What caused it?
Man, I don't know. I've been down in the engine room. I'm going down there now to see what the trouble is. I've been working on it all day.
Let me know if I can help you.
All right. Thanks, John.
Go ahead, Herb. Make the connection. I'll talk to him direct.
You mean Amadon's coming in now?
Yeah, but she's a couple of days late. He must have had some more trouble.
Captain John, this is Ed Conway aboard the Amadon.
Okay, Ed, I read you. What's up?
Got me some real trouble this time, John. You better get me to my pier as fast as you can. Then I'll have to make repairs.
What's the matter? You sound like you're sinking.
Well, not that bad, John, but I've got to get this ship over there in a hurry.
They prepared to take you?
It's all arranged.
Okay, Ed. Be with you in a few minutes.
And, John, you better bring the aspirin. I sure got me a big headache this time.
Take it easy. I'll be right with you.
I just don't understand it. I knew she was an old ship. I didn't figure she'd give me all this trouble.
What happened to her this time?
Well, halfway down the coast, she began to take on water. She was leaking like a sieve. We got some of the bulwarks closed and managed to do some repair work.
Is she really in danger of going down?
I imagine she'd have stayed afloat all right, but I'm getting pretty much disgusted.
All those repairs would be pretty expensive. You think you can handle it?
And I don't know, John. You see, the Amadon's getting the reputation of a sick ship. And even if I got it fixed, I doubt if I could find any passengers to carry.
Well, if you're in a tight squeeze, maybe you better let Mallery have her.
Well, you think he'd want her now with the reputation she's got?
I don't get it. He called me this morning, gave me that routine about being a good friend of yours, and asked me to try and persuade you to get rid of that white elephant.
You think I should take him up on it?
I don't know, Ed. You'll have to decide that yourself.
Well, I'm a little suspicious of a guy that seems to want to buy a lot of trouble. But right now, I can't ask any questions. All I want is out.
Maybe you better hang on for a little while and see what happens.
Mr. Conway?
Oh, John, this is Clint Johnson, my foreman on the job.
Hi, Clint. Glad to see you.
Same here. Well, Ed, we haven't had a chance to really look her over yet, but I took a quick look, and those plates on the starboard side are pretty badly sprung. Did you have a pretty rough sea coming down?
No, matter of fact, it was calm all the way.
Can't understand it. She's an old ship, but she shouldn't be sprung that bad unless she took a real pounding. Why don't you two grab a bite to eat, and we'll give her a real going over, and then maybe we'll have some more information for you later when you get back, huh?
All right.
And there are several of them just like that. They're sprung all right, but not warped or out of line. We went over the whole inside very carefully. Some of the welds have come apart, and a few of the rivets have snapped. At least it's supposed to look that way.
What do you mean supposed to look that way?
Well, in a rough sea, you might expect trouble with the welds and rivets in an old ship like this. But in calm weather, it just doesn't figure to happen that way.
But it happened.
Ed, I got an idea it just didn't happen by accident. Looks to me like somebody's been messing around down here. She's an old ship, but she doesn't figure to fall apart like this. Not yet.
Hello, Clint. How's it going today?
Well, we're making some progress, but there's one thing that puzzles me.
What's that?
Are you looking for something aboard this ship?
No, why?
Well, I just found the cupboards in the galley torn up and the storage bins pulled out.
Oh, that's impossible. Everything was in order when we came in.
I can vouch for that. I was aboard her before we came into the dock.
I can guarantee none of my men have been messing around. This is a pretty mysterious ship you got here, Ed. How about your crew? They all reliable?
Well, as far as I know, none of them have been aboard since we came in.
This is starting to shape up a little, though, Ed. According to Clint, the damage on that last trip was not an accident. So it figures somebody in the crew must have had something to do with it. Now this ransacking the inside of the ship. Maybe the two things tying together. Why don't we talk to Sam? Sam, I suppose your men patrol the yard 24 hours a day.
That's right, John.
Any reports of anybody prowling around this ship?
No.
Would it be possible for somebody to board her at night?
I suppose it would be possible if they came in through the channel. We patrol the main buildings and the yard generally. We don't keep an eye on the dry dock at all times. Doesn't figure that someone will come in and steal the Amadon.
No, I guess not. Whatever's been happening must have been at night. They wouldn't try to board her in the daytime with the men working on the dock. Who's on duty tonight?
If you're expecting trouble, I'll take over myself.
Ready for a long sleepless night?
I've had plenty of those, but one more won't matter if it'll help clear this up.
Okay. What's going on over in the yards?
I don't know. They've been on 24 hours for over a week.
Recognize him?
Not yet. That's Joe Simpson.
Who's he?
One of my crew.
Yeah?
Just came in. He's headed for the freighter.
I'll move in and pick him up.
Not yet. Let him go aboard first. Then you move in from your end, and we'll come in from here. We want to see what he does. We won't pick him up until we find out what he's here for.
Okay, John. Whenever you give the signal.
Right.
We better split up. You and Ed go aft.
All right, Joe. Now, what's it all about?
What's what all about?
Never mind that. Start talking.
Look, Simpson, you're in real trouble. But if you cooperate with us, maybe it'll go easier with you. Or would you rather talk to the harbor police right now?
Whatever it is you're doing, we know you're not in it alone. You want to take the rap all by yourself?
You haven't got a thing on me. So I boarded the ship. So what?
You've been tearing up the ship, haven't you?
Prove it.
Maybe he's right. Sam, why don't you lock him up till we see what Mallory's got to say?
Mallory? What do you know about Mallory?
You're in this with him, aren't you?
If you want to take the rap for him, that's your business. But sabotaging a ship is a pretty serious thing.
Mallory's in this as deep as I am.
How deep is that?
Is it really going easier with me if I talk?
I think we'll all be a little more kindly disposed.
Mallory wants the ship.
We know that. Why?
Well, the last time I was in Macau, I heard about this guy who got caught up in a tax jam for the illegal selling of ships. The government started to close in on him, and he decided to beat it out of there. He chartered the Amadon to ship some of his goods out. But he never got to go with her because somebody caught up with him and killed him before she sailed.
What's that got to do with Mallory wanting the Amadon?
Well, there was pretty good proof that he'd stashed away some gold on the Amadon. But she sailed away before anybody could get to her. When I got back to the States, I sold the information to Mallory, and he was going to cut me in on whatever he found. But Conway bought the Amadon before we had a chance.
Come off it. You don't expect us to believe a story like that, do you? Hidden gold.
Well, believe it or not, it's true.
That's some story, Simpson. You must think we're fools to believe a thing like that.
You're fools if you don't believe it.
You really think there's anything to it, John?
Just crazy enough to be true.
Well, in that case, I better get Clint Johnson and a couple of the boys down here. If there's any gold aboard that ship, we'll find it.
What's going to happen to me?
You're just going to wait this out with the rest of us. Come on. I'll never forget Clint's face when he found out what he was supposed to be looking for.
He'll never forget my face if he doesn't find it. Clint's not too happy about me getting him and the boys up in the middle of the night to look for gold.
The whole thing is ridiculous. A fool's gold hunt. By the time they get through tearing my ship apart, I'll be the biggest fool of all. Well?
Well, come on, Clint. What happened? Did you find anything?
Would you like to take a look?
Full of a lot of teeth.
So much has happened the past 24 hours, I'm just confused.
Don't worry, Sam. Everything will work out.
Mallory's just coming in the gate now. I'll go meet him.
How'd you make out with the gold?
Everything's under control. I turned it over to the captain of the harbor police. He contacted Washington. They're going to take it from there. Seems like you have some kind of a reward coming from the French government, seeing as how it was discovered in your ship.
And with what I've gone through lately, all contributions gratefully received.
Let's go see Mallory.
All right.
Well, Conway, I'm glad you finally saw the light. I told you that ship would be too big a proposition for you to handle.
Turned out to be a big proposition, all right.
I don't understand, Captain, that you're the one that persuaded Conway to do the right thing.
Well, let's just say we all got the idea at the same time.
Well, as long as it was unanimous, huh? Papers all ready?
Yep, right here.
So I have here a certified check as per agreement over the telephone.
I think you'll find everything in order.
Fine. Just want to make sure that at the conclusion of this transaction, I'm the sole owner of the ship and everything aboard her.
That's what the agreement calls for.
Fine. Would you two gentlemen mind witnessing it just to make sure it's all legal?
All right.
Thank you. Well, now that I am the sole owner of the Amadon and everything aboard her, and inasmuch as she's still in your yard, I've got some work for you to do.
Yes, sir.
I want you to strip her down. Take her apart, junk her.
All right, Mr. Mallory.
And I want to supervise every step of the operation myself.
Is there anyone you'd care to have supervise that operation for you, Mallory?
Oh, no. Not a chance. This is one job I want to oversee.
Well, now, I wouldn't be too sure about that, Mr. Mallory.
Why, what do you mean?
You two gentlemen completed your transaction? And maybe you better come along with me, Mallory.
What for?
Well, it seems that your pal, Joe Simpson...
Joe Simpson? What about Joe Simpson?
As I was saying, your pal, Joe Simpson, is in jail, and we've reserved some space for you.
You can't do that. You've got nothing on me.
According to Simpson, you hired him to commit certain acts of sabotage against this vessel. We've got plenty of things on you, Mallory. You care to join us, Mr. Johnson?
I'd be glad to.
Now, look, you remember this, Johnson. I own that ship and everything aboard her, and anything you find aboard her is mine. Remember that.
I understand perfectly, Mr. Mallory. Everything on the ship is yours. You requested me to junk her, and that's exactly what we're going to do.
And you get the junk. What's the matter, Ed? I thought everything turned out fine.
And I guess it did, John. But I had a kind of a feeling about this ship, my first ship. I hate to see her go like this, to be junked.
That was an old ship. You'd have had trouble with it anyway. With the money you got from Mallerie and the reward, you can start all over with a better ship.
Well, maybe you're right, John. But what better can you do than a ship with a cargo of gold, huh?
Not much. Well, we hope you enjoyed tonight's story, and that you'll be with us next week for another episode of Waterfront.